So here is a summary then of what we call respiration in cells. You have to think about food as a source of high energy electrons. What respiration does is it takes electrons from food, gives them to NAD+, so this is our electron shuttle, NAD+ will pick up the electrons, become NADH. NADH delivers the electrons to the membrane. And in bacteria, this is the bacterial plasma membrane. In eukaryotic cells, this is the inner mitochondrial membrane. Inside the membrane, the first component of the electron transport chain in the membrane becomes reduced. It accepts electrons from NADH. And then these electrons will shuttle from one protein to another in the electron transport chain, which is all in the membrane. These are all integral membrane proteins. Okay? And each electron transfer process is an oxidation-reduction reaction. Okay? At the end of the electron transport chain is what we call a terminal electron acceptor. This is the end of the electron shuttle. And in eukaryotes, going through aerobic respiration, the terminal electron acceptor is oxygen. This is why we need oxygen for respiration, because our mitochondria use oxygen as the terminal electron acceptor at the end of the electron transport chain. Okay? So what this diagram describes is a flow of electrons from food molecules via NAD plus NADH to the electron transport chain to a terminal electron acceptor. So this is the most general form of cellular respiration. Bacteria can use alternative electron donors. So some bacteria don't have to get electrons from food molecules. They can get electrons from other potential electron donors. And bacteria can also use other potential electron acceptors at the end of their electron transport chain. So what's the point of the electron transport chain? The electron transport chain, instead of taking hydrogens from food straight to oxygen, they reduce it, or they break it up into a series of redox reactions, each with a smaller free energy change. And then these free energy changes are used to pump protons across the membrane. So the whole point of the electron transport chain is to generate a proton gradient across a membrane. So the difference in proton concentration causes two things. One is a change in the concentration of protons. Okay? So that's one thing. But since protons are positively charged, there is also a voltage difference. So not just a concentration difference of protons, but also a voltage difference across the membrane, from one side of the membrane to the other. This generates what we call a proton motive force. Because of the resulting difference in proton gradients and the voltage difference across the membrane, the membrane on one side becomes positively charged, the membrane on the other side becomes negatively charged. There is a strong driving force for protons to cross back across the membrane down their gradient, and this is called the proton motive force.